Hey guys, welcome back. So last time we were able to create this floating action button and also this UI to save a new contact. So in this one, we're going to go ahead and save this contact to the server and also update our UI locally without actually refreshing the list. So what you can do is, you guys already know, we need a way to get the state for the form and to also handle the on submit. So we're going to go to our screens, then the create contact. So first off, we need the form state. So const form set form equals use state. It's going to start out as empty. Let's make sure we are importing use state. Then we need the on change text. So we'll be sending the name and value from the component. So when you call on change text, we'll give it the name of that input and then the current value. So when we get it, we want to set the form. Then we want to update the current input value. So we get the current input using this name because it's going to be unique, and then the value like this. So then we can send this one to the child component like this. Also, let's set the form if we maybe want to control an input. So now that we've sent it, let's go there. If we come over here, let's expect the on change text and also the form. So what we want to do on this input, we can have the on change text. Then obviously we want to now call on our own on change text and give it the name and value. So the name here is going to be phone number. Then we pass the value. So the value is going to be the value that is being sent back from the component like this. So the name should be a string. Save it. Then let's do the same thing for the other ones. So for the first name, it should be the same. The last name should be the same. Then we need to change this to first name. Then this should be for the last name. Okay. So also we need to handle the on submit. So here we need to have on submit. Let's set it on submit. Then let's go ahead and create the on submit and send it down. So here we can have on submit. Then in our parent component, we can create on submit. So it's just going to be a function that will do nothing for now. Okay, so for now it's going to be logging the current value of the form. So I'll just have form in there. So we need to send it, of course, down here. So on submit equals on submit, save. So in the create contact component, this should be on press and not on submit. So on press equals on submit. So now if I click it, you see that the form is empty. Let's enter the first name, first, last, and also the phone. Click submit. You see that we have those details inside here. Now we don't have the country code, so we need a way to also set it. So notice that here in the screen, we have a value to update we only update the state from the on change text. So what we want to do is here, when we select a new country, I'm going to come here where we select a new country and add a console log. So I'm going to console log v. So v will be the details of what is sent to us from the component. Okay. So now if I come here and change, you see that we get more details here. So we have the calling code, we have the CCA2, but we are mostly interested in the country code. So we can get the country code here. So we can do const code will be v dot country code. Then it's an array, but we're going to be picking one, the first one that we get. Also, we are going to need the CCA2. So this CCA2 can be used to show maybe a country that is selected here. So we can do const country code, C code. Then this can be v.cca2 like this. So save it. It should be const, not cont. So now that we have this, we can set them to the form. So since we already have the set form, let's send it down also so that we can use it. So here we make sure we are sending the set form. Then in the child component, we should be able to pick it. So we can come here and also get it. Okay, so once we have it, we can now get here and call set form. So for the set form, we want the phone code. So you can say maybe actually I'm gonna use country code. So for the country code, we will be using this C code like this, and then for the code, I'm going to rename it to phone code, so such that we can also set it, but I don't want to replace everything in there, so I will need to spread the form and then change the phone code to phone code mainly. Okay, so now what this means is that here, when a user chooses, let's say they choose Algeria, we need to show Algeria being selected here. So we can achieve that by passing a country code prop. So the country code has to be let me show it to you. It has to be something like AO. You see this? So that is what we are setting as the country code. So now we can say if we have form.country code, which is the one we are setting here, then we want to use it. In fact, I'm going to rename it to country code like this. So if we have it, then we are going to use it. Otherwise, we just skip undefined there and save. So now if we come and change here, let's say we change to Algeria, you see that the flag is shown, and yeah. So one thing that we are missing here is with calling code should be true. With calling code should be true. We have with country name. Let's try to see something here. So we want with, let me see, let's see what's available with calling code button. Yeah. So if we do that, then we can get our calling code. So if we come and select Botswana, we should have a 267 and the flag. Good. So if I click submit, you see that we have in the form, we have the country code, which is this, and then the phone code, which is this. So on the server, we are going to be sending the phone code and not the country code. So the country code is only going to be used to just display the value here. Okay, so let's go ahead and handle the on submit. So first off, we need to be able to have an action to basically handle the on submit. Now we are going to start off in the action types. So we're going to go to constant, then action types. So here, let's go ahead and create our 3 action types. So we're going to have create contact, So we're gonna have like a loading, a success, and also a fail. Also, we can come to the context, and here where we have contacts, we're gonna duplicate this for now. So this is gonna be create. Oh, come on. This is gonna be create contact. So we need to, of course, change our types. So I'm just gonna select all of them, and this should be just create contact. Since we're importing from the same place, it should just do fine. So of course we first dispatch loading, then we want to do post this time. So when we do a post, then if it's successful, then we want to dispatch the created contact. Otherwise, we want to dispatch that there is an error. Okay, so here we want to send the dispatch to. So we want to go to the screen actually, which is here. Then we want to select our contact dispatch. Here in the on submit, we can just call the action. So we can say create contact, create contact, create contact here. So want to call it and then give it a dispatch. So since we are creating a contact, we want to be able to send these contacts to the server. So here we need to send our contacts from the form. So we can just send our form for now. So when we send the form, we need to receive it in the action. So we want to get the content it needs from here. So here I'm going to have form. Now down here, I'm gonna create the request payload, the one we want to send to the server. So I'm gonna just say request payload. For now, it's gonna be an empty object. So when we say post, we can put the second parameter, which can be the data we want to send. So now we can send request payload. So if we take a look at the API, we need to send something that looks like this. So I'm gonna copy it out and then come over here in the request payload and duplicate this. So we'll try to be getting these from the form. So this is gonna be form dot for the this should be the phone code, of course, like this. Then for the first name, this should be form dot first name. So we can do form dot first name. Then if they are not there, if the user submits and they are not there, I'm just gonna send an empty. I'm gonna be sending empty. So let's do that for these other ones. So for the last name, it's gonna be similar. So let's do this. Let's do this here too. This here too. So his favorite, for now, I'm gonna set it to false. Then later, I'm gonna show you how to use a switch so that we can send it properly too. So the contact picture, for now, we don't really have it. But if we did, then we will be sending it also in the form. So it should be contact picture. We're gonna keep it the way it is when we are sending it, like this, or else it's going to be null. Okay. So now that we have this should be phone number actually. Let's remember to change it. Then this should be last name. Okay, so now that we have this and we are able to send it to the server, let's try it and see what we get. So I'm gonna come over here and add 1, 2, select some country, then add a phone number. So I want to have a console log here to see if it's a success or not. So let's do rest.data. Then here let's do error response, error.response. Should be error, save. So now if we submitted, you see that we get rest.data and it is created. Okay, so now that we know that we are connecting to the API, now we need to be able to work with the loading state and also disable this and update the local state and redirect on success. So to do that, we are going to now go to our reducers. So in the reducers, which is here, we're gonna now do a case for get contacts. So for add contact loading, so here we want to check if we are adding a contact. So what are we dispatching? We are dispatching create contact loading. So if we are create contact loading, if we dispatched create contact loading, we want to go to create contact. I believe that's how it's called. I'll check it out. Create contact. Then we are going to change loading to true. Also, when it is successful, so that should be create contact success. Then of course we can just turn it to false and add the new data for that contact. So we can say data equals to payload. So the payload is going to be what you saw down here that got logged as the res. Then if it's an error, we also need to turn off the loading. So we can say, okay, if it's create contact fail, then come and say loading to false, and also save that error as payload. Make sure the data is not there. Okay, so now this is looking good to me. Now it's actually retrieving that user, as you can see here. So which is good, which is what we want. Okay, so when we create a contact and it's successful, we want to be able to add that contact to this list without actually fetching the server to retrieve that contact. So what you can do is, you see how we have this get contact success. we are also going to be returning another object for get contacts on success. So here where we have create contact success, so here we have created a contact. Now we want to add that very contact to our list of contacts. So here we'll keep get contacts, but for the data we will use this syntax to add to a new array, to add an item to an array. So the item we'll be adding, of course, would be the payload. Now we'll be adding that to the previous state in the get contact list. So that's gonna be get contacts dot data, but this should be state dot get contacts dot data. So what we're doing is we are getting this array and we are adding another item on top of it. Also, let me handle the loading, because when we change it here in the create, we should be able to disable that button down there. So we're gonna go to our screen and select the contact state. So in the contact state, we are going to be selecting create contact. This should be small c. So this we are selecting from this initial state, guys. So this should be here. So it should be create contact, not create contacts. Okay. So if we come over here, we can select from it. So we want loading, error, and data. These are the ones that we might need to use. So let's see here. This should be just a comma. So for the loading, let's send loading down here. Also, let's console log it. Okay, so if we come here, we don't have it. Okay, so let's try to troubleshoot this. So I'm going to try to restart this app and come back here. Now the loading is false by default. So when we come and enter, let's say 5, let's choose Andorra, then let's enter something. Let me remove these so we see if we have any errors actually. So if we click submit, you see that it turns to true and then it turns to false. So let's send it down. So loading is there. Also the errors, let's also send the errors down because we would want to show them on these inputs down there. So error equals error. Then for the data, I don't think we need it for now. So in the child component, let's expect error and also loading. So let's console log error because we want to know which shape it is in, so we know how to best display it. So when we console log it, you see that it's basically an object that has keys and values. So the keys are the fields that have errors, and also the values are an array of the values related to that field, the values of errors related to that field. So we're going to go to the inputs and add an error prop. So we can say error. So error will be error dot, so this is the first name, should be first underscore name. Then we want the zero prop, the zero item, since we can't show many at a time for now. So since this is going to be null by default, we want to use this syntax, and also this might not be there, so we also want to use this syntax here. It's called a coercion operator, so it saves you from running into those undefined errors or accessing something that's null or undefined. Okay, so let's do the same thing for the last name. So we can do this last name. Let's do the same thing for the phone number. So we're gonna come over here. It should be phone number. And guys, I will mention again, if you want to know how to write the backend, check out the description for the videos. It is like a 5-series video, very quick. You will see how we build the backend. So let's try again. Click submit. So errors go away and then they come, but we are not loading here. So we're gonna go to our custom button and say loading equals loading. Also, we want to have it disabled when we are loading. So disabled equals when we are loading. So we can say loading like that. Save it. So when we click submit, you see it is loading and then we have errors. Another thing is when we are submitting, I want to change the the text on this button to something like please wait inside the inner component, so that the user gets more context of what's going on. So where we have the title right here, so I'm just gonna check if we are loading like this, then I'm gonna be returning the I'm gonna be returning please wait with these 3 dots, otherwise I'll just show the title. So when we click submit, you see please wait, and then we see this. So if it is a contact that's valid, so let me put some valid contact. So valid contact, then let's put the phone number, let's choose some country. And guys, most of the times you want to be, in a case like this will always be the code of the current user's country, but right now we don't have access to that. But if you're building like an application, be sure to maybe on a server have an endpoint that tells you where the user is, so you can just prefill it. So if you click submit, it's going to go ahead and say please wait, then it's going to go ahead and create. Now when it creates, we have something's failing. Instead of us concatenating it like this, we are just going to be spreading this one like this. So we're going to spread what's already inside we're going to spread this array and add this object to on top of it and create another array. So let's try again. So we're going to come here, let's say new test, the country can be this, then let's put something. Then when I click save, it's going to go ahead and save. Now it's not redirecting, but also notice that it's not really crashing. So if we come here, you see that the new test was added on top. Okay, so which is good, which is what we want. So what we want to do now is be able to redirect on success. So the easiest way we can do that I can think of is to come over here and have a callback when it succeeds. So we're going to go to our screen, which should be, where is the screen? So here, this is the screen where we call this. We can have another callback for on success, where we can just say navigate to the contact list. So you guys already know this. We did it some time before. Contact list, let's import it. We also need access to navigate somehow. So here I will get navigate from user navigation. Let's make sure we're importing user navigation. Yeah, so navigate is there, we have it. Let's import the constant for the contact list. Contacts, I believe we called it contacts list. Let me verify in constants. So I'm gonna go to constants, route names, then it's called contact list. Okay, so like that, let's import it, save. So now that we've added the callback, we need to also add it to the action. So we're gonna go here and also add an on success. You can call it anything. So on success. So now whenever we dispatch a success, for us we can tell our component, the one that called this action, that's to say okay, things were successful. Okay, so now if we come here, we can put, let's say 10, 12, let's pick a country, then let's just save a random number, then save it. So when it's successful, you will see that it redirects here and the contact is added on top. So maybe in the future we'll be going to the detail page, but for now you will see that it's working. We can come back here and add another one. So another one. So for the another one, let's pick a country. Just gonna pick Cuba 53, save it. So when we save it, you see that it's added here, 53, another one is on top. So this is good. We are able to add a contact to our context, and the list is able to update without actually fetching back from the server. So thanks guys for watching. In the next one, I'm gonna come and we work with the switch.